Imagine a family that seemed perfect on the outside, loving parents, happy children, and a life filled with laughter and joy. But behind closed doors, a dark and horrifying reality was hidden. This is the story of the Hart family, a case that shocked the world and exposed the devastating consequences of abuse, deception, and systemic failure. In March 2018, the Hart family's SUV was found at the bottom of a cliff in Mendocino County, California. Inside were the bodies of Jennifer and Sarah Hart, along with 3 of their 6 adopted children. The other 3 children were never found, but they are presumed dead. What initially appeared to be a tragic accident soon unraveled into a story of abuse, manipulation, and a chilling act of premeditated murder. Jennifer and Sarah Hart were a married couple living in Washington state. They had adopted 6 children: Marcus, Abigail, Jeremiah, Devontae, Hannah, and Sierra, from the foster care system. The family often presented themselves as loving and progressive, sharing their lives on social media and portraying an image of happiness and unity. However, behind closed doors, the reality was far darker. Reports of abuse and neglect began to surface, painting a disturbing picture of life in the Hart household. Today, we'll take you through the events of that fateful day, the investigation that followed, and the global impact of the Hart family tragedy. This is a story of deception, abuse, and the devastating consequences of unchecked power. It's a reminder of the importance of vigilance and accountability in child welfare systems. Join us as we uncover the mystery of the Hart family case and explore the lessons we can all learn from this tragic story. Jennifer and Sarah Hart were a married couple living in Washington state. They had adopted 6 children: Marcus, Abigail, Jeremiah, Devontae, Hannah, and Sierra, from the foster care system. On the surface, the Harts appeared to be the picture of a perfect family. The couple often shared their lives on social media, posting photos and videos of their children laughing, playing, and enjoying life. They portrayed themselves as loving, progressive parents who were dedicated to providing a happy, nurturing home for their kids. Jennifer and Sarah were active in their community, attending events and advocating for social justice causes. They were seen as role models, a family that had overcome challenges and built a life filled with love and unity. But behind the carefully curated social media posts and public appearances, a very different reality was hidden. The Harts' home was not the safe haven it appeared to be. Reports of abuse and neglect began to surface, painting a disturbing picture of life inside the Hart household. Neighbors and acquaintances started to notice signs that something was wrong. The children often seemed withdrawn and fearful, and there were whispers of harsh punishments and strict control. Despite these red flags, the Harts managed to maintain their image as a happy family, deflecting suspicion and avoiding scrutiny. The Hart family's story is a chilling reminder that appearances can be deceiving. What seemed like a loving home was, in reality, a place of fear and suffering. Behind the Hart family's carefully crafted image of happiness and unity lay a dark and troubling reality. Reports of abuse and neglect began to surface, revealing a household filled with fear and suffering. The first major red flag came in 2011, when one of the children, Devontae, was found wandering the streets alone, begging for food. He told neighbors that his parents were withholding food as punishment. Devontae's desperate plea for help was a shocking glimpse into the harsh conditions the children were living under. Child Protective Services investigated the family, but the Harts managed to avoid serious consequences. They moved frequently, from Minnesota to Oregon and eventually to Washington state, making it difficult for authorities to keep track of them. Each time they relocated, they left behind a trail of concerned neighbors and unanswered questions. Over the years, there were multiple reports of abuse. Teachers and neighbors noticed that the children often seemed withdrawn and fearful. They were rarely seen outside the home, and when they were, they appeared malnourished and anxious. Despite these warning signs, Jennifer and Sarah were skilled at deflecting suspicion. They presented themselves as loving, progressive parents who were dedicated to their children's well-being. They used their social media presence to reinforce this image, posting photos and videos that showed the family in a positive light. But the truth was far more sinister. The children were subjected to harsh punishments, including being locked in closets for hours and denied food as a form of discipline. They lived in constant fear of their parents, who maintained strict control over every aspect of their lives. The abuse allegations against the Harts are a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and accountability in child welfare systems. They highlight the devastating consequences of unchecked power and the need for stronger protections for vulnerable children. On March 26, 2018, the Hart family's SUV was found at the bottom of a cliff in Mendocino County, California. Inside were the bodies of Jennifer and Sarah Hart, along with 3 of their 6 adopted children, Marcus, Jeremiah, and Abigail. The bodies of Hannah, Devontae, and Sierra were never found, but they are presumed dead. At first, the incident was thought to be a tragic accident. The SUV had plunged off a steep cliff along the Pacific Coast Highway, a route known for its dangerous curves. Investigators initially considered the possibility that Jennifer, who was driving, had lost control of the vehicle. However, as the investigation progressed, a darker truth emerged. There were no skid marks or signs of braking at the scene, suggesting that the crash was intentional. Jennifer had accelerated the SUV off the cliff, killing everyone inside. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. How could a mother deliberately take the lives of her children? What could have driven Jennifer and Sarah to such a horrific act? The timeline leading up to the crash added to the mystery. Just days before the tragedy, neighbors had reported the family to Child Protective Services, citing concerns about the children's well-being. The Harts were likely facing an investigation, and some believe that Jennifer and Sarah chose to end their lives and take their children with them rather than face the consequences of their actions. The tragic event marked the end of a life filled with deception and abuse. It also raised important questions about the systems that had failed to protect the Hart children. The motive behind the Hart family tragedy remains one of the most haunting questions in this case. Why would Jennifer and Sarah Hart, who presented themselves as loving parents, intentionally drive their SUV off a cliff, killing themselves and their children? One theory is that Jennifer and Sarah were aware that their abusive behavior was about to be exposed. Just days before the crash, neighbors had reported the family to Child Protective Services, citing concerns about the children's well-being. The Harts were likely facing an investigation, and the prospect of losing custody of their children may have been too much for them to bear. Some believe that Jennifer and Sarah chose to end their lives and take their children with them rather than face the consequences of their actions. This theory is supported by the fact that Jennifer had researched the cliff where the crash occurred in the days leading up to the tragedy. Another possibility is that the crash was the final act of control in a household defined by manipulation and abuse. Jennifer and Sarah had maintained strict control over their children's lives, isolating them from the outside world and subjecting them to harsh punishments. By taking their own lives and the lives of their children, they may have sought to maintain that control to the very end. Whatever the motive, the Hart family tragedy is a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked power and the importance of vigilance in child welfare systems. The Hart family tragedy left a lasting impact on the community and raised important questions about the systems that had failed to protect the children. In the days following the crash, the story made headlines around the world. People were shocked and horrified by the details of the case, and many were left wondering how such a tragedy could have happened. The case sparked a national conversation about the foster care system and child protective services. How had Jennifer and Sarah Hart been allowed to adopt 6 children despite multiple reports of abuse? Why had the system failed to intervene and protect these vulnerable children? The tragedy also highlighted the dangers of social media personas. The Harts had carefully curated an image of a happy, loving family, but the truth was far more sinister. Their story serves as a reminder that appearances can be deceiving and that we must be vigilant in protecting those who cannot protect themselves. In the years since the tragedy, there have been calls for reform in the foster care system and child protective services. Advocates have pushed for stricter regulations and better oversight to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. The Hart family tragedy is a heartbreaking reminder of the importance of vigilance and accountability in child welfare systems. It's a story of deception, abuse, and the devastating consequences of unchecked power. The Hart family tragedy is a heartbreaking reminder of the importance of vigilance and accountability in child welfare systems. It's a story of deception, abuse, and the devastating consequences of unchecked power. If this story moved you, like this video to show your support. Your likes help us raise awareness about important issues like child welfare and systemic failures. We also want to hear from you. Comment below with your thoughts. What do you think can be done to prevent tragedies like this in the future? Have you or someone you know been affected by similar issues? Sharing your thoughts can help keep the conversation alive and inspire meaningful change. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories and in-depth analyses. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on our latest videos and join a community of people who care about justice and human rights. The Hart family tragedy has sparked important conversations about the need for reform in child welfare systems. You can support these efforts by spreading awareness, donating to organizations that advocate for vulnerable children, or simply by standing in solidarity with those who are fighting for change. Let's make a promise to ourselves and to each other: we will not look away. We will stand up for what's right, protect those in need, and build a world where everyone feels safe and valued. Thank you for watching. If you found this video important, please share it with your friends and family. Let's keep the conversation going and work towards a brighter, safer future.